What is going on, y'all? It is your boy Quamon Star G, and welcome to a little video of mine. You know how it is, how we get it done. You know, today is a special day. It is November 17th, 2020. And this day is special because it is the 3 year anniversary of one of the largest fights any sort of nerd group has ever had to experience, and that is fighting for the Snyder Cut. Well, first believing in it from Jump Street, then fighting for it, and now seeing it realized. And today is a day to stand united, stand together, and just bask in the glory and greatness of what we have received. And a new trailer. Well, yeah, basically a new trailer of the Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer dropped today in black and white with some additional footage that definitely added some oomph to it. And we were going to break down the breakdown that the director Zack Snyder did for that trailer. But first, you might be noticing one thing. Well, Q, I'm looking at your beautiful face, and you are. And two, I got two other people who y'all might say got beautiful faces as well. Let them know who y'all is.
Well, I mean, I was hoping the amazing, astounding, incredible, show-stopping one would go before me, but since the king is so gracious, I am the one and only Aaron Michael is Sammy Davis Jr.'s glass eye on Twitter. Great friends with Q, great friends with this amazing Kang that is coming up. Like, what else can you say about this guy? You know, it just, I really like what we're doing, what we've become. It's great to be here. It really is. I mean, what more can we say?
Yeah,
You know,
we are setting the standard, and the king is going to get his scepter and crown,
yeah.
and
Can you
just
blame him? Can you
I,
blame him?
I absolutely can't. So, King, let the folk know who he is, what
Sorry,
kingdom you
I think the dogs had got out for a second. My
rule
bad. Hello, everybody. I am Mike. I'm going to be joining my bros on this amazing breakdown of this trailer. This is going to be super exciting, and yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, so essentially, for those who don't know, Zack Snyder, he on the incomparable app Vero broke down his trailer from the beginning to the end. He didn't get all the way into it because he wanted to avoid spoilers. He wanted to avoid any sort of, too big, like he couldn't do it like he was before when he was quick to, say, oh, we're going to be doing this, that, and the third, because now the movie's actually happening. The 4 part movie is actually happening. So he wanted to make sure it was as tantalizing, but not the entire meal as possible. And he kicked it off talking about good old Uxas, aka the man who the correction, the new god who would become Dark Side. And Aaron, I want you to kick this off because I believe you and the new gods have a nice little relationship. They're
I
very,
think
very
you're
close.
right. Oh
Come on,
yeah,
King.
no, period. Love New Gods. I think just seeing this imagery in a film that a studio very much said didn't exist. Just the whole idea of what this character represents is something to behold. The image of the future dark side is amazing. I think the way Zach really described him, he understands the character. He gets where this is supposed to be going, and it's a very good setup for some possible future iterations of the character. I really am. We could sit here and talk about New Gods and Dark Side for forever, but I'm just really excited for what he's setting up, and just in the trailer alone, him just showing that passion. It's really amazing just after all these years, to see this character look and move, and I can't wait to hear his voice. Like, it just, oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It truly and honestly is. And the simple fact that, as he mentioned, is when he first arrived on Earth and he's about to strike the ground with his weapon to see if the anti-life equation is on the Earth and try to start that whole instance of trying to become almighty, all powerful, to become dark side, because he's not quite there yet, was just completely masterful and just like real like just setting the tone for it. Michael, what you got? What you think about it?
I think it's gonna be amazing because we get to. I think it's more of another history lesson about Darkseid and having this younger version of him and seeing what he goes to what he's going through to get to the ultimate being of Darkseid. I think that's kind of cool that we get that another history lesson because I feel like Zack Snyder has blessed us with history lessons from the past of the DC universe. So for him to be able to dive into this again and give us his true vision of Darkseid or pre-Darkseid, I think that'll be cool to see. So I'm super excited to see that.
Yeah, just the whole concept of him like just striking the ground to get
Mhm.
just to get the codes for to decipher the anti-life, and just knowing that the amassing previous defenders of the earth are about to go to war with him for it is just sets the tone incredibly. I'm very much looking forward to it and seeing how they go ahead and just do what needs to be done and just go straight for the gusto. Next up, the next part, he did answer this one question, because someone asked him what is the power comparison between Zod and Uxas at this point. Well, no, he actually clarified it to say Darkseid, the questioner, the person asking the question. And he basically said the only group of individuals who can defeat Darkseid are new gods, not the old gods, but new gods. So that definitely puts him way above Zod in terms of power, strength, and everything. And then we're going to come back around to that because he expounds on it later. But next up, he talks about the scene where it is the modified version of Superman dying from BVS, and he was essentially, playing up the Arthurian similarities again, as well as explaining that Uxas and Steppenwolf are comparable to strength in comparable in strength to Doomsday, which is I think is a unsung piece of information that will play into how the story unfolds and everything. What y'all think about it, Aaron?
Oh, I'm when you start talking about power levels and new gods, just that whole subject again, geeking out. But I think just kind of bringing up Doomsday, it sets up the stage that we're gonna obviously get some nods and clarifications to what other doomsdays out there, because it's obviously other Kryptonians experiment and all that stuff. But also what I am most excited about just by all of that is the idea of, if old guys can't stop him, if Kryptonians can't stop him, if the seven kingdoms, all that, if nothing can stop him, obviously Wonder Woman can't, obviously Amazonians can't. Like, what does this also say about Steppenwolf? Because, if you remember during some interviews, Mr. Hines, who, voiced and did some uh, acting for Steppenwolf, he did mention that that's his relative. I think that's his nephew, or at least in the comics, that's his Steppenwolf is Darkseid's uncle. And is there going to be some beef between them? Is there going what does that say for what this young Darkseid, basically rising to the throne? What's this going to do in terms of, like, what's his role going to be by the point we get to modern time, by the point that Clark is dead?
Mm.
What is this really going to be setting up for us? And it just, like, if he is incredibly powerful by this point, if he doesn't even need to lift a finger, he just uses his omega beams, like, what does that say about Steppenwolf? How OP is he going to be in this cut? Like I'm really, really interested and excited of who's going to get nerfed before, you know, the team comes together. You know, what are we going to see? What are we really going to see?
When you say that, it makes me think. First of all, let me piggyback on the whole Superman scene. That was my favorite scene from Batman versus Superman because I wasn't expecting it, and the fact that he's bringing that back in this cut is just the more of the continuing of his story and his vision. So I appreciate him for putting us back in that emotion when we did lose Superman the first time, and we finally get to see how does that play out with all the characters and all the emotions behind that. When it comes to Steppenwolf, it makes me feel like I don't even in the whatever you want to say now because we're about to get our real Justice League movie. It makes me think about the tunnel scene and will that be completely different, especially with Steppenwolf? Will he be a little bit more powerful? Would there be more damage in that? Because if this is a new cut, it makes me think about what fight scenes that were in the first one will be in this one that Steppenwolf was in. So
Yeah.
I would like to see that tunnel scene done over because I mean, just the way how he blew up when he grabbed that missile and then blew up the tunnel and then the flood come rushing in. I just wonder how that's gonna play out now.
Same. And congratulations, Mike. You've officially remembered more about Justice League than I did, because I forgot all about the ins and outs of that a specific fight. Other than that BS, I don't fight people. I just push and run around. That
I hated
garbage.
that.
And those poorly reshot scenes with Batman and Cyborg. But yeah, definitely, I'm interested in seeing that more Steppenwolf and all of that, as well as the fact of the matter is they Zack released a full colored the redesign, or the more accurately the old design before the Justice League redesign of Steppenwolf, and it looks dope. I'm very much in complete on board with that look. What do y'all think?
I think it's amazing, and what I really like is that a lot of people were nervous, like not nervous, but had a lot to say about the face and all that for Steppenwolf. But him basically re-releasing this the basically the first image of what Steppenwolf's going to look like, and then also dropping. We can get into it later, but the fact that most of those spikes and stuff are armor, so that the very alien like face where he looks like a beast could very well just be a plate mask. Like that's just that it just speaks on how his mind, like Zack's mind, like this is definitely going to go into some levels that kind of make it easier for explanations on why Darkseid only wears a certain helmet, and if they're related, why Steppenwolf looks one way and Darkseid looks another, why possible other new guys that may or may not show up while they look a certain way. Like it makes it it makes it a little easier, and this also just shows how as has been, it's been stated before, like with Aquaman in '84 and all these other films after, mechanically after Justice League, how Zack is kind of, he's doing his own interpretation, but he's leaving the door open for other directors and writers to interpret what, has already been established. And I just,
Yeah, and this trailer definitely, he actually they touches on it a little bit more later on about that exact point, and I definitely agree with all of that as well. Mike already said he likes that redesign. So next up, we're gonna go straight to the one of my favorite parts of the trailer, from from the original to now, just the shot of the destroyed Hall of Justice set in the Nightmare time period, and all of the Easter eggs about it. And Zach said there's a lot of Easter eggs. He said that shot sets up a lot of stuff with the the apocalyptic fire pits, the Joker card that was on Batman's gun in BVS, as well as the Omega symbol. Just a lot of pieces that he was very explicit about saying that is going to play a huge part. And for me personally, that tells me that we are going to get a lot of Nightmare in this version, that was not just a quick little awesome scene in BVS, that there was a huge plans. And then when you add in the Jared Leto's Joker to this whole thing, this is going to be one of the best superhero comic book, whatever you want to quantify it, moments in of all time. Just because if people can hate on anything that Zach has screwed with traditionally, or whatever garbage they come up with to try to say, oh, Zach doesn't know what he's doing, whatever, you can do that on your side, no one cares, you can waste your breath over there. But with the nightmare sequence, I feel like that should be above of critique, because it is an original idea. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that's inherently trying to be emulating of something. It's something Zach conceptualized and is using his own ideas and putting his own input into doing it. And so I feel like people should look at that, like, just like, really, not saying they should ignore everything else, definitely not. But when the nightmare sequences come in, that's when you go, okay, now, all right, whatever. I might not like how he tries to do traditional stuff, but I do want to see what he's doing with this wholesale different thing. And just from this shot of the trailer, I already know it's going to be so, content rich and, just so deeply groundbreaking, if I do say so myself. What y'all think?
I'm excited for the nightmare scene because um, it gives me the sense of, there's always more to the story. And, if it's supposed to be more, let me see it. So I'm super excited to see what else is in that whole universe, I guess, or that future. So I'm just ready to see how it all plays out with the story now.
I didn't know you was on the. I'm talking to you. I didn't know you was out here. Yeah, I would definitely agree with. I definitely agree with Mike. Like, I think what really excites me is the possibility of more. We're going to see more of the nightmare sequence, but just like there's a lot of potential just in that setting alone. Like, what led to, there's a possibility that Batman and Joker may have worked together at some point, or did he kill him? Like, what, it really could go one way or the other. Like, it just, I'm excited to break down, like, when I actually see the scene, everything in there. It's like, what league members are still alive,
Mm.
because it's obviously, it's very obvious the Justice League had formed at some point, but they, succumb to the will of Darkseid. Like, what happened with that? Was there a Supergirl during that? We're definitely gonna get in more into that later, I'm sure. But like, what, I have a feeling that what Zach's going to set up within this Nightmare universe is that more DC characters, more heroes that we're used to, and even villains, popped up, but because of Darkseid, most, if not a good chunk of them, are either drones of the anti-life equation, or they're dead. It's just like, there is so much potential and so many things he's probably, you know he basically did, confirm that with, winks and nudges, but it's like, there is a lot of potential, and I'm really excited to see what we could have in that. Because honestly, I would just like a nightmare film, because like that, I feel like it could be a lot like Injustice. Just putting that out
Oh,
there.
I was
Just
just
putting that
thinking,
out there.
what if it was Injustice? That would be crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. It's already alluded in BVS, with them being so fearful of Superman. It's like,
Right.
there's a lot of potential just with a movie just of that. Like, I would not be surprised if during this sequence we saw a lot of other heroes, like alluded to, like even with helmets, just like memorials. Like, I really not would not be shocked to see any of that, because Zach's attention to detail is so great.
I'm gonna say one thing. Um, do you think the Flash came from this, like in BBS, when Bruce did have the nightmare, and then when he woke up suddenly, and then
Yeah,
Flash was coming through? I
yeah.
would always wonder, did Flash come from? Was he come running from like that future? So
I'm certain he was, and I got a feeling that that's going to be a major plot point and plot device, for Barry to get to the Speed Force.
Mhm.
And then, the big crescendo of it all is like Barry finally taps into the Speed Force. I
Mhm.
honestly wouldn't even be surprised if he meets himself from the future.
Yeah, I 100% agree about that. I wouldn't be surprised that we'll get to that
Right.
sequence towards the end, but I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't the linchpin for that potential interaction between the maybe flashes of two timelines. We've heard of the flashes of two worlds, but what about the flashes of two timelines? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But yeah, the next scene that Zach broke down and was the next scene in the trailer was Diana finding the arrow of Artemis, which it was, what starts Diana on her quest of figuring out exactly what's going on, and basically is the galvanizing point for her in the story. The arrow shaft, including clues about Diana's possible return to the mascara and the location of the the hidden shrine of the Amazons that we've seen Zach post pictures of Diana with the torch looking at the mural of the defenders of Earth versus Uxas and the parademons and stuff like that. So I'm very much on board for that. I want to say Indiana Jones esque,
Yeah.
mission for Diana to see how she comes to learning about this and coming into the knowledge of everything. What are y'all thoughts and opinions on it?
I think this is going to more so than what we saw in Justice League. I think this is going to give Diana a bigger role, much deserving, increase in her role and what she's going to be doing for the plot, more so than just, being the bruiser and being, the one who spits, all of the history and all this stuff. And like, we actually are going to get something with her because, I feel like there's going to be, like, just with Zach alluding to her going back to the mascara, there's a lot of drama in there. There's a lot that we're going to get out of this character, and it's just, it's going to be really great seeing Gal, commit to the role again, because we're still waiting on 84 at this point. But just it's going to be really great to see what's offered, what's delivered, at this point, because we're going to see a very different Diana.
Mhm.
She's going to be very different from what we get in 84, what was even in BVS. Like, this is really cool stuff.
It always makes me think about how it makes me think about her costume, how her costume changes with the years. So that personality, what she learned, it goes through the years with her. So, I'm just excited that we get more scenes with her and more true scenes of her background and what she has to deal with and how does she handle the information that she stumbles upon learning about young Darkseid and learning about when he did come back and try to get the mother boxes from the Amazons and all that. So it will be exciting to see her process that and use it to help the team now.
Exactly. And one of the points Zach was asked about that he clarified was that the history lesson between, the battle of defenders of Earth versus the acolytes of Apocalypse, I'm gonna call them. It takes place before Ares betrays and ultimately kills most of the old gods. And one of the things that sprung to my mind, and it plays a part with another scene later down the line, is what if this was the galvanizing point? And I'm keeping using that word, but what if that was the point in Ares' history where he fights against Uxas, he fights against the agents of Apocalypse, and he comes to the conclusion that, oh, if this anti-life equation is used on the world of man, the individuals of man, and it's to subjugate them and corrupt them, then either he comes to the conclusion of, okay, then they need to be destroyed before they lead to the destruction of everything, excuse me, or that they need to just completely take out this entity so they spare them the the fate of being these mindless, hopeless slaves. And maybe that's the reason why he comes to that conclusion where he has to fight against the old gods, why he does conspire against Zeus, and ultimately leads to his plan in Wonder Woman. Because I've always felt like in Wonder Woman, they were kind of laying seeds for anti-life, ism to an extent, based solely on the fact that, Ares is trying to get her to the side, as well as when she loses Steve, that sends her into a rage, kind of similar to alluding to how when Superman loses Lois, that sends him down the path of potentially being, manipulated by Darkseid and leads to the nightmare scene. So I always thought that was a parallel, whether it's true or not. I'm not saying it is, but I just felt like that was something that could have been on the cards between the collective minds at the time. What do you guys think about all that?
You saying that, I kind of want to take it a step further and say it could be possible that, with you honestly saying that, Ares may have been under control of the anti-life equation. And Darkseid, convinced him to kill off the old gods, to wipe them out. And at some point, with Ares, who Ares is, he was just like, yeah, I guess. I mean, it makes sense. Like now that you're saying all this, headcanon at the moment would say that Ares may have been under control of the anti-life equation, because he may even, consider himself being able to wield it. And, that still ties into him saying, well, gods deserve this, but man, shouldn't be able, to access something like this because they're weak, they're fragile, and all this, all this other stuff he was telling Diana. Like that. See, and this is just the beauty of how, intertwined all of these movies really can be, just with a line here. You don't have to constantly have character A, B, and C pop up. You can have like actual threads, that go back to movies that happened 7 years ago. Like this is, that really shows it stands, test of time. It just like this. I want to see what happened with that. I need an old gods versus new gods thing. I need it.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike?
I'm here for that all. Like, cause me, when it comes to like, I'm still learning my knowledge of like the full DC universe. So, just listen to both of y'all. I'm whatever happens, happens. And I mean, I'm not just saying that because I mean, I stand this whole concept of what he's doing. So if it's gonna leave little plots like that for the future and what he can do more with this vision, of course I'm here for it. So yeah.
Yeah, same. See, I was just spitting up the top of the dome about that. So I can't take too much credit for that, and I can't be like, oh yeah, that was just off the top of the dome. And Zach could be like, that guy's wrong, but I like where he's going. So I'm not claiming nothing of that. But the next piece of content of the trailer was when they were looking at the hologram of Superman, which was extended than it was in the original trailer. You actually see Superman flying, and then you see the iconic, image of Bruce watching it, and then Zach confirmed that it was Cyborg doing a holographic image of Superman as the team collectively is, trying to figure out what they want to do, what they want to do next with Superman, and contemplating rebirth or something more to prepare for what's to come. And see, I interpret that answer as Zach kind of sort of alluding to the fact that, unlike in Justice League, where it was Batman was like, so we just gotta resurrect Superman, and that was it, and he really didn't expound on it, that there may be some conflict with that concept, because Batman may think that the best way to not just win but to protect Superman's legacy is to not resurrect him, because maybe resurrecting him is what leads to the nightmare future that, it not only leads to that, but it's Batman essentially failing Superman twice, right? Like he didn't follow his example in BVS, and then he resurrects Superman for what to happen? For Lois to die, and that spirals it out of control. And that also adds a layer to, one of the many layers to Superman's line in BVS is like, you took her from me. And that could be a level of interpretation that since Batman resurrected Superman, that led Darkseid to, orchestrating her death, if that's still the direction that they want to go in. Who's to say? But, you know, that leads, point A, point B, point C. And that's why. So Bruce is kind of contemplating maybe resurrecting Superman isn't the best step. And maybe, keeping him dead and them trying to handle it themselves and using Superman's example as the, means of defeating Darkseid and the crew. Maybe that's the best way. But who knows? As Zach would probably say. What you guys think?
Um, I don't know. I feel like that scene with him, them actually looking at Superman and them actually, we get to see that. I think that's cool and everything. Um, if they have to resurrect him, I feel like, resurrect him again. But it's just that, like you said, if resurrecting him will make him, later turn evil, if that's the direction that they're going in, I mean, hey, let him turn evil.
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback off of that. Like, I think that's just a very interesting idea because one that plays off of the fears that Bruce originally had in BVS, but since he's come to basically mature and understand where all this is going, it really does show him like the brains of the group because he's contemplating and he's always trying to be one step ahead. And this basically just centering around his death, like it's he can't be one step ahead, and possibly that could lead to some other things that I'm not going to try to speculate right now because I have like 2 billion things going in my head about this, but it's like it really just shows I think the highlight of this scene is going to be showing that Bruce is the brains of the group, and he's also this is just a very big collective team effort. And I also love how we got a full shot because now there's the speculation of that being Supergirl is gone, or is it? But
Is
I
it?
just right, but I really like what was being established, just so quick. We already get the sense of like urgency, and like just having Cyborg be the one to project this image. It's just it shows a lot of it's going to show a lot of growth at this point, in the movie when we actually see it. But just so early in the trailer, it's giving us a sense of like urgency, dread, just all these different emotions in the group, and it just that is amazing.
Yeah, just to touch on two things about it. One, I'm so glad that that it's confirmed Superman because I remember when that like the very back in 2017, people were like some, oh yeah, that's Supergirl. That his Superman's leg looks a little slim. And I'm like, that's a reach to say that. But secondly, just want to quickly go through this one, the next scene with Aquaman, and Zach basically was talking about that's where they the main tavern in the background and is to scale with all of the other back buildings in the back because they're miniature. So basically trying to get some optical illusions going on to make you think the village is larger than it is. And the water cannon blasting Jason Momoa, aka the person I trained to look as good as he does because I actually look better. But I can't show that here on YouTube, so I'm not gonna show you guys the results of my training. But just know that the reason why you guys think Jason Momoa looks so good is because I trained him and I showed him my techniques.
It's
But
true.
definitely just talking about the slow mos and the water cannons, good stuff, good stuff. Now the next essential piece is arguably one of the many great scenes that had a lot of content that was erroneously cut out, and that is the Victor playing football scene, the flashback scene where Zach said that he was playing against Wisconsin, which for those who don't know, that's his home state. So that's the nice little Easter egg. Zach's son Eli was the one that was helping Ray, get the football stuff down, get the jukes in, mad jukes, you know what I'm saying? Jumping over folks, hitting with the spin move, you know what I'm talking about? Getting that in. And then added some lore to the background of it. So the reason why you only see Cyborg's mom, Eleanor, there is because Silas is still at the lab working, blowing him off. That's why, you can notice there's like an empty chair in the shot. So a lot of content, a lot of story stuff, and behind the scenes goodness for this particular shot. What you guys think? What are your thoughts and opinions on it?
I'm glad we're getting it because I felt like with them saying that Cyborg was the heart of the movie, this is important. You get to see him playing in a sport that he loves before he goes through a traumatic experience that he has to deal with and, figure out himself again. So the fact that we get to see we get to see basically Vic as a football student, we get to see that before he transitioned into Cyborg. It's needed. It will show more of that character development. It will show us pre Cyborg, and I feel like we need it because that would just give more genuine felt emotion to his character when he goes through what he goes through, especially with Silas being in the lab working. I think anytime that I've seen Vic's dad in the animated movie, he's always been working. Especially I think it might be Young Justice, where it might have been Young Justice. It's been an animated series where I've seen him still working in the office all the time. So, I mean, in the lab all the time. So to bring that to the forefront and that still be that, um, not necessarily tension, but that relationship issue with them, to bring that to his character development is, it's awesome. So I'm here for all the Victor scenes because he is the heart of the movie, and you can still see that from the trailers.
Yeah, definitely. I think what I really like about this, just kind of piggyback off what Mike said, I like how we're actually going to get to know Victor Stone pre Cyborg. And this, what this does, it actually makes him a character, than just a plot device or, a side, whatever they were trying to make him in the other version. We actually get to see, what makes him tick. Why is he, in the state that he's in mentally, as well as emotionally? Then, it just like, I really like what this is setting up. And it's also just with that empty chair, that's going to show that there's a lot of beef between, because there's obviously going to be some issues, with that. And then the heartbreak of like him losing his mother who was supportive of him. It just, there is a lot to take in just with, what you can get just with an empty chair and what it symbolizes. And it just, we can kind of go into the next scene, but like it just really does set up something really amazing with this character.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're going into the next scene, yes, seeing him in that apartment and seeing for that to be him playing football and then shoots to the next and him in
Right.
this apartment with his hood on and not saying a sense of loneliness, and you see him looking at the kids playing football, so that's just more layers to unpack. And it makes me think like, what's the time frame of the football game to him transforming? I mean, to him being, what's the time frame? Because that's a lot in that, especially if he's in an apartment by himself. Like that means he left and he's been by himself dealing with what he's dealing with. So, to see that more, like I said, it's more to unpack with that character, but to see him go through it and see how he comes out on the good end of this and see how he handles it, that's the beautiful thing of his whole character development.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna get the car wreck scene with Victor and his mom. I really do feel like we're gonna get it, and I would not doubt if it's gonna mirror, the argument, like the scene between Clark and his parents in Man of Steel. Like I really feel we're gonna get that because if he's gonna be the heart of a movie, we gotta, love, this character.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree 100%. I definitely feel like I think Fabian Wagner actually posted on Instagram yesterday that what looks to be the scene of the car crash. So definitely expecting that. And just to piggyback on what you both said, just him just in the apartment looking at the kids playing football, obviously trapped in the apartment because he can't go out and just be a normal person anymore. He's now half man, half machine, and just his entire life upended. His core support group gone in the world, and he's stuck with this dad that he's had to deal with for so many years, not paying him any attention, paying him dust essentially, and trying to cope with that just on the basic surface level. And now he's going to get shoved into this galactic King Arthurian level of it. And that's in where he plays a pivotal role and is going to really just upend him and just change him as a person. So a lot of stuff for good old Vic. And next shot, can't talk too much about it, and even though it's one of the best shots, and that's Superman stepping out of what seems to be a scout ship or whatever, what have you, with the black suit on. Zach explicitly said he's not telling us a damn thing about this scene. This is gonna be something we gotta see when it drops because he's not gonna spoil any goodness about it or what have you. So we can all just agree that this shot was amazing and will
Yes, it
continue to
was
be amazing. So
epic.
yeah. And so that leads us to the next shot, which is Wonder Woman with the little girl, and the little girl asking her, "Can I be like you one day?" And Diana answering with an emphatic yes. And so I like this is just plays up just how awesome Wonder Woman is, and just how much of a beacon of hope and light she is in the world, and what she means to the people that she comes into contact with. What do you guys what you guys take away from this sequence, from this scene?
You have froze a little bit.
Oh, I had said, what did you guys take away from
No.
this?
Because we were like, okay, well, he froze.
Am I back?
Oh,
Am I
yeah,
back,
you're
y'all?
you're
Yeah,
good.
you good.
Um,
Okay,
what I
what part did I freeze on?
like right before you said, what do you guys think?
What did you guys think for what did you guys think of just the whole sequence with Diana and the girl, and just the questions of the matter?
I think that's this is book. I'm not sure when this is when the scene is. I'm just ready to immerse myself in it. But I think what this represents is it's going to be a breath of fresh air, even a calm before the storm. And a lot of people that watch this, they need to see this, powerful, goddess, show that she has empathy. And I think also this will also show a lot of critics, a lot of people with criticism that these characters, especially this character, is not above, talking to children, because the core of what comics have become versus what they started out is that, a lot of kids want to see this, and a lot of kids will watch this, absolutely, with their parents and stuff. And I think a lot of little girls are going to feel reassured by a scene like this, because it just it's very heartwarming, basically. And a part of me still wants it to be Don Troy. I'm okay if it's not, but it's a very reassuring, it's a very reassuring scene, with a great character.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna say, like you said, it's a beacon of hope, and it just makes me think about how Diana is in the comic books, and when she has those panels with kids, and like she gives them hope, and you know, like you said, she is a beacon of hope. So I just feel like it's just hand in hand with who her character is and everything.
Yep. So the next part, I'm going to touch on this question that someone asked Zach at the time period, and he got asked how many Kryptonians are on Earth, and he at first was like, some long story short, just to be accurate, it's only one at this time period, just good old Kal-El the Superman. But he did mention once again, which he mentioned on way back when on his Man of Steel watch along back in August, then you pay attention to them scout ships and how there's one missing. And last I checked, Kryptonians on Earth, when you traditionally look on them, in other media, they don't particularly age too much, similar to humans. And while I know that there's other Kryptonians out there, I don't think he was talking about a dog, as cool as that would be, or a cat, or a horse, or a chimpanzee, or anything like that. I think he was talking about another human, a humanoid type Kryptonian, maybe a woman, a girl, a super girl, if you
Oh
will.
yeah. I
Maybe
could see
I
that.
wish. I wish it was Supergirl. I ain't even gonna stunt. Like I wish it was her. Just because a live action Supergirl in Zack Snyder's universe, that would be amazing. Like, girl, what you been doing all this time? like, like what you been up to? Like, what trials and tribulations have you went through? Like, how
Right.
have you handled, you know,
Yeah.
being in this earth? And did you see Batman and Superman? Not Batman. Well, did you see Zod and Superman fight? Like that's what I would want to know from her. Like,
Mhm.
did you see that? Did you feel like scared or afraid that you couldn't handle your abilities or you couldn't handle your power and you couldn't help? Like, what what was her point of view? Just like we saw Bruce's point of view at the beginning of Batman versus Superman when he's watching it. What was your point of view seeing that? So I would, if it came down to, I would be so happy to see Supergirl in Zack Snyder's universe. Like that would be
Oh, now
art
that's
for
an
me.
idea. That's an idea. Um, see, yeah, that I want to. Yeah, I want to see that now. I feel like he's talked about Supergirl too many times for her to not at least not be referenced like at face point value. Like he's alluded to her too many times, and yeah, I could see like that would be actually really interesting with them basically looking the same age. You don't even have to get someone who looks like a teenager, but just that she didn't have that support system, or practicing with her powers, and she's still
Hmm.
novice compared to her cousin.
Right.
That, yeah, that is a really good angle. Sophia, if you're Kara, just type something on your Twitter. Do give us something, please.
Do a
Give
fist
us
emoji.
everything. Don't give us nothing, but just give us everything. Yeah, next up next up is the Barry scene where Zach clarifying he's applying for a job at a pet store, just looking for a job because, just trying to make ends meet. And we see the first introduction to his speed, and Zach was clarifying this, and I like the way he spoke about it. He wasn't demeaning or derogatory or anything like that, but he said that his version of the Flash, like he doesn't have a protective aura for people when he grabs them when he's running. You know what I'm saying? He can't, like, because it's not, he's trying to be as physics, real life physics minded as possible. So he's saying that Barry has to be careful when he runs because he doesn't have the, oh, I'm gonna grab you and we'll both be a part of the speed force so you can handle the velocity and all of that. That he has to be careful about it. So, he that lends itself to make it creative in how, he saves Iris from her predicament in the movie, in the shot. And he also talks about how, because his shoes aren't compatible with the high velocity and speed force aura, that he can't, he it burns off as soon as he turns and tries to run. So dealing with those feats of strength and speed. So what would your guys take away from that?
So happy because I'm a Flash fan. So when I found out that majority of his scenes was cut out between him and Iris, that turned me off because it's like I'm a Flash fan and to see him saving her for the first time, or we get to witness him saving her, and then that's their first actual time, like you know meeting. It just builds more character development as for their relationship, because we know Barry and Iris, grows to be together and everything. So the fact that I finally get to see this come out and see this be played out how it's supposed to be, I'm so excited because, like I said, I am a Flash fan. Um, his shoes burning off because he's running too fast. I hope we get to see, I hope it zooms in and we see his shoes disintegrate from his feet because that's Flash. That's stuff that happens to him when he's, when he's dealing with his powers. So, and the fact that he was running that fast to save this beautiful woman, oh, I can't wait. Like, I'm like super excited that we get to see, you know, the Flash develop as a character as well as he's supposed to, and not just push people and run away. I'm sorry, like,
Right.
and not just push people and run away. Let me see Barry Allen really go through what he has to go through with learning his powers and, developing himself. And I really hope we get more scenes with him and Iris. I hope the saving scene, I'm so happy for, but I really get the hope we get to see more of them, develop their relationship little by little. So I really hope we get that as well.
Yeah. I am super excited for everything you said. I agree 100%. And I'm really excited, just with, them alluding to the fact that they're actually using, potentially real world physics in that, if you pick up someone at, high speed, whiplash, their skin might come, like all of that. Like, I'm really, excited to, that just reinforces that they're using Chris Terrio's, incredible script. And, when he was talking about how much he researched, all these different things, when he was talking about a script a few years back, like this just shows like they're really going to utilize everything. And it really is incorporating these characters into our world and not trying to bring us into their world. And I think that is still what makes, this series so unique and so interesting.
Yes, completely agree. Some little bit more bits and pieces is how, swoon, that over the hill Iris is about seeing this mysterious stranger saving her life, and that Zach really likes Iris, but unfortunately she's not in the movie too much, but she's there to, they're establishing it. Shout outs to Kiersey Clemens. Really hope to see her and Mushidi's Flash, reprising her role. Fingers crossed. Next up, we got Quickie. He's another bit that Zach didn't want to touch on too much due to spoiler reasons. Um, they that they just went ahead and used the same angel at the cemetery scene for Cyborg that they used in Watchmen and Sucker Punch. So that's a nice little Zach continuity from his other two previous films. I like that. What you like that's a nice little cool Easter egg. You guys think
Yeah.
so?
Yeah, I like Sucker Punch and Watchmen. Um, if I want to take it a little deeper, um, what if it's an angel watching out for Cyborg?
Mm,
Like a metaphor. Oh,
Hmm.
there
I
you
like
go.
that. I like that. I
So,
Yeah.
that's what I picked up a little bit from that. As he's digging for whatever he's digging for, he has somebody watching over him,
Hmm.
going through whatever he's going through, whatever at this part of this movie, because obviously he's full cyborg and he has took off the hood and he's probably still dealing with whatever he's dealing with.
Yeah.
But I think that for me, it gives me also, you put this angel statue here from, your other two movies, but
Yeah.
I'm getting, what if he's being watched over by somebody, or,
Like
a little
his mother,
protection.
like his mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I really do like that angle. And I want to know what he's digging for or who he's digging for, because if he's, I'm gonna give you my top three guys. He's either digging for his mom, Superman, or Dick Grayson.
that's something else.
Not
That's
you
something.
said Dick Grayson. Get
And
out of
that
here.
last, no, let's just say he's digging for Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson in there.
Child.
That would be something
Let's just
else.
shake the table a little.
That would be something else entirely. Another part, a little quick part, was the iconic Batman on a gargoyle scene that Zach was very adamant he wanted to have in the movie. He said it's a classic shot. He wanted it. He loved it, and that is taking place on top of GCPD. Um, not gonna get too much into it. I will say I am very much saddened that in Justice League they just said, "Oh, we're just gonna throw a tarp over it. Like, we're not gonna show you the actual, full scale shot. We're just gonna throw a tarp over it and
Hmm.
make it really look lackluster." So, other than that, I'm very excited to see it's back in its luster, in its
Same.
full scale luster. Yep. What you guys think? Any thoughts and opinions on it?
Beautiful shot. Like, and definitely didn't realize that it was a tarp over it the first time.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that the first time. So, and as I'm looking at it right now, and all its glory, especially in this black and white, it's beautiful. And to see it in color, it's even more beautiful. So, you know, I'm glad that it's, like you said, it's in its full scale of the shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think it, just if anything, it speaks on, the pettiness of, the other group of individuals who decided to restructure the movie, because like this shot is so epic. It doesn't even need rain. There's probably rain in the scene, but it doesn't even need rain of how epic it is. And just to minimalize it with a tarp and then a little hop off in the other version of the movie, that doesn't play into how grand this is. Like,
Right,
this is Batman. This
right.
is 100% Batman.
Yeah, entirely. And then, like, the next scene he wanted to talk about was the scene between Martha and Lois. And he talked about Diane Lane's and Amy Adams' performance being phenomenal, just straight up phenomenal. Definitely like something that is going to move the audience, because they're both going to be talking about pain and loss, because they've both lost their husbands and in the past, and more specifically, Martha lost her son, Lois lost her soulmate, and just that whole pain and grief. And I will say this, and I was surprised about this, and I don't know if you guys picked up on it or not, and I want to know you guys' thoughts and opinions, but Zach didn't say this was the scene where Martian Manhunter was impersonating Martha, which is, as we know, in when this drops, there's going to be a scene where Martha checks up on Lois, and it's not actually Martha, it is Martian Manhunter. So I would have felt like he would have clarified that, but he spoke like this is just a genuine scene between actually Martha and actual Lois. So I'm very much, it still could be the case, but the way he was framing it, it doesn't necessarily seem like it is. So what do you guys think?
Him not trying to give us everything, and just give us if it is Martian Manhunter, being Martha, we're just getting the relationship of Martha and Lois as them, having this, like you said, Martha losing her son and then her husband in the past, and then Lois losing her soulmate. So maybe it's just that for that time being, and you never know when she does leave, he turns into her, or maybe he saves it for another thing. So I think it's just that he's not trying to give too much away, so that we can truly enjoy it from beginning to end, whatever he puts through and whatever emotional strings he pulls from us. So
Yeah, he took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I think. Regardless of if it's Martian Manhunter or not, I really think this is going to just set up you know just that loving relationship that these two have. They're basically the only two women in the world that understand each other
right.
more than anyone living can understand from them. And it's going to establish a really decent relationship. And I think it's going to be really fun to, when, all is said and done, to try to go back, and see, is this scene when she's Martian Manhunter? Is this the scene where she's really her? Like, that's going to be really fun, but it just, establishes something really loving and honest between, these two characters, because, in the comics, and even if, fandom pre BVS and even Man of Steel, there really wasn't a lot of respect for Martha, you know, and what Lois could do. There really, just wasn't that much respect. It was just like, this is his mom. She's gonna set things up. Smallville kind of, changed it around a little, but I think what this really is gonna establish, that this is a woman who has been grieving, time after time, and she finally has somebody in her life who understands her. And it just, that's just a really great, added bonus to the character that we're gonna get, and what people are going to realize, just casual, fans are going to, finally see what, we've been talking about for so long.
Exact.
It's more of those layers.
Period.
Yep, just like them onions, them layers.
Exactly.
Yep, I agree 100%. Next part focuses on the Atlantis part, where Zach talks about Arthur and Volko, which we know has a very close relationship with each other based off of Aquaman, the movie Aquaman, and seeing how that blossomed, and basically giving Arthur Atlanta's quindrant, and the armor to try to be the one to be the emissary for Atlantis and fight against, Steppenwolf and everything, as well as telling him he needs to take his place as the king of Atlantis, which we know will fall on deaf ears until Aquaman comes out, as well as seeing Mera and getting some clarification on exactly what her role is, in that she is specifically guarding the mother box. She is the guardian of the mother box. And so that is something that is, things that weren't exactly specified at the time, but now we have a better understanding on what exactly is going on, as well as, Zach throwing in there that he had to have Jason back out in a cool way, kind of a la Jim Morrison, not John Morrison, the wrestler, but Jim Morrison, the rock star. So what do you guys think about that whole sequence of events?
I feel like it's just more, I keep saying this, character development. Like pre character, especially for Aquaman, pre what we see in Aquaman, and for Valko to tell him it's time for you to take your place as king, and he, like you said, deaf ears, and he's not trying to hear, and he's been drinking like a fish, so like he ain't trying to hear none of that. So like, I just feel like that's just more of his character development before he gets to where he has to, take his place as king. When it comes down to Mara, I love the fact that she is known that she's protecting the mother box, and I hope that what we saw in Justice League is different, and we get to see her probably, defend the mother box even more when Steppenwolf tries to come and get it. So I feel like that whole sequence will probably be different. So I'm super excited for, what happens with that. So
Yeah. I 100% agree with everything you said. I'm not gonna, go, too far into it, because, I was just repeating what you said. But what I really like about all this is that, there are no small parts in this. It just, everyone really does have a part to play. Every single character, and it's gonna be really fascinating and fun to just see it all come together. Like, everyone is really important in some aspect, and I think it's going to be really great to finally see how Arthur was before he finally accepted his role as the king of Atlantis, basically. Like, this is going to be really interesting, because they're going to handle it much more respectful, and it's not just going to be he's a badass with an attitude. He's going to get his shit together and pick up his trident and go help the rest of the group. In this, like, we're actually going to see him want to have nothing to do with anyone, this whole time. And I'm really interested to see that particular character aspect, like what is going to happen, with all of this. And if he knows where Atlantis is, how long has he been going, back and forth there, not established, in the Aquaman film. Like what has he been told and what hasn't he been told?
Mhm.
Right.
Does he know about like just so much, so much.
Yeah.
Unpacking.
Yeah.
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 Because as it always, like, as Jason has always said, that Aquaman was in basically all regards a sequel to what Zack shot in Justice League. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they do with that. But in any case, I want to talk about another thing that is going on, and that is the Ux is trying to has revealed that the anti-life equation is forming the unity, which, as Aaron will very well and eloquently explain to us, is will make him Darkseid, make him the overlord of everything. And this is before the protectors of Earth at the time show up to start, going to war, go to toe to toe. And the priests are the mother box are in the back, in the background trying to, start the whole ceremony and everything. And he even equated it to Lord of the Rings. And as well, Zach also confirmed that yes, that is Desaad, and he's going to be giving Darkseid updates via hologram. And he gives a lot of backstory about and about himself, and we see his dark ambitions. So I'm just gonna step out the way and let Aaron take it from here with all of this and what this means.
well, first of all, I am words cannot describe how excited I was when he said sci-fi Lord of the Rings. Like that is New Gods. That is everything it's supposed to be. That's everything it's meant to be. Oh, yeah, that's a whole other topic. But having Darkseid, so young, basically getting the anti-life equation, you know, that early in the game, and then Desaad, the image of Desaad, coming to him through, you know, through a
Hologram.
hologram, yeah, hologram, and giving a lot of backstory, like that. Their interaction, it's gonna be very King and his Jester, and I'm just really looking forward to is he going to get into Desaad trying to undermine Darkseid, like all these different aspects. I'm really excited. I think you can hear just me stumbling my words. Like I am floored just with the idea of more New Gods characters, and him getting the forming the unity, just the idea of this being making every living organism bow down to him, and seeing him as God, not a new God, not an old God, but just God, the Alpha and Omega, in the DC universe. Like that is such an awesome motivation for a villain. Um, I can't say enough. Like this really does show how much Zach gets the character,
Mhm.
and just that image of this one really tall figure forming something, and he's got all of these priests and who knows who else might show up behind him to basically pray to Darkseid. Like that is such an awesome image, and it's such an awesome character. And I'm so ready when the forces that are gonna stop him, they all come together basically. And oh my god, I'm so ready for this scene. Like I know this is a part of the history lesson, and I'm ready to see Thanagarians, Green Lanterns.
Mhm.
If we see the Furies, if we might see Calabac or any other New Gods characters, I'm just really excited for what is going to happen with this. And it's like Oh, we're gonna get so much. We're gonna be fed. All my New Gods fans, we're about to be fed really good.
Expeditiously. What you got to say? What you think, Mike?
Oh, I'm excited because I mean, you just heard Aaron's explanation of that. Like, I think for me, when he did say it's like, sci-fi Lord of the Rings, I love that. Like, it makes me fall more in love with Zack Snyder's vision, his direction, what he wants to do. And I think I'm excited about the more of the history lesson because, I want to know more about the new guys and more about, you know, I guess Darkseid's minions and what he wants to do and go through to get to where he wants to be. So I'm just excited that it's, happening.
Yeah, same. So what we're gonna do next is we are going to just we're not gonna go and break just bit by bit because Zach did it even better. So we're just gonna go and just condense the last bit of this in the most significant ways. Again, I'm gonna touch back on the history lesson. We see King Trident, slamming the aforementioned trident on the ground, showcasing its power. And I wanted to specifically talk about this because I feel like this is falls into the same category as when I was talking about Ares and his plan to kill the old gods and destroy humanity was that, if we throw our minds back to Aquaman, the power of the trident was so powerful because King Trident was trying to basically secure peace on earth and secure this whole defense system. So maybe that was, again, this battle with Uxus is what galvanized him to start that plan, is to try to create an ultimate defense on this from happening and stop him from gaining, have a ironclad defense of him, against him, so he can't ever, capture the anti-life. And that, obviously backfired, and that's what led to the current Atlantis situation that we see. What did you guys think? Do you guys what do you guys think about this? Because Zach said that the king plays a huge role in the battle between Dark Side of Uxus and the Defenders of Earth.
Um, when I first saw that, I screenshotted it because I was like, "Whoa, look at this power!" Like, when he, boom, like I was shook. So I'm excited for the visual, and what if this is during the whole you know, if this is during the history lessons and the before everything, what if he's the one that did take him down, or what if he's the one to make the sacrifice? That's what I'm thinking about. It's like, you know, how powerful is it, and what happens when he does do that? When he does use the full power of the Trident.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. That I think that just is going to it's gonna play, into the that Lord of the Rings s kind of stuff, because if you remember the history lesson in Fellowship of the Ring, you saw that big huge battle, and it really came down to just all this action and everyone trying to stop, one figure. And we're going to get the same in this. And I'm really excited to know, what kind of power, is this going to do? And like, is this going to, obviously, we're not going to see it in Justice League, but, because of the big plot in Aquaman, but like, does this put fear in Darkseid? You know, and are there, obviously, in the comics there are, but are there instruments, in, the seven tribes, basically, are the, do they have instruments that can, basically stop new gods? May not kill them, but can slow them down.
Right.
Right.
And like, I think that is the most interesting aspect to me, because we've already, see, now we have five more to figure out. We have the Trident, but we also have Wonder Woman because she's the God Killer. So it's
Yeah.
like, what else is there? And
Right.
I really like where this is going.
Same. I got two more pieces I want to touch on, two major engrossing sequences. First, I want to start off with the Flash and just all his last bits of sequences in the trailer. and that is, the scene with the explosion and the whole little thing, and then him or say like running. I know Zach said that specifically because he definitely didn't get into it about anything about the sequence with the explosion and him creating his own path. But he did say that when he was saving the people from the debris, it was like he was running so fast it made it seem like he was flying, which looked so visually appealing. But I just want to talk about that because that touches back on what we were saying earlier about the timelines and the Flash, Flash meeting the other Flash, and like this could be like a sequence where something happens and it's like the Speed Force protects Barry and something like that, and he's just running backwards in time, and he's mass like this is of his own volition. This isn't him being thrown back into time to try to warn something. He's just doing it on his own. And this is where, maybe this is where he would meet the other Flash, and that would cause the timeline divergence, which would guarantee that, not guarantee a victory for the league, but guarantee that things are going to be, happening much differently than what they had hoped. So, he's definitely keeping that Flash sequence very close to the chest. But I feel like if there's any strong indicator of a Flash of two timeline sequence, that is the one. Or, that could be how he met, good old CW Flash in Crisis on Infinite Earths when he's running and stuff like that, and he's sent through the Speed Force, and that's how he's able to meet him. And because like as they say in that, he is not called the Flash yet, so we'll see how valid that is when Zack Snyder's Justice League drop. Well, what y'all think? What y'all thoughts and opinions on that?
I could see that. I could see him, going so fast, and basically, breaking into the speed, like the real Speed Force. And I feel like, him appearing like he's flying in that really beautiful scene. I have a feeling we are going to see at least hints of other universes. Like, I think this is going to open up to a multiverse, just the idea of a multiverse. And I'm just like I could honestly, now I'm saying that I could see him running into, that's how he runs into his alternate universe self. I could actually see it happening like that. Just so many possibilities.
Yeah, I was thinking like I felt like it'd be like a glimpse into, and this may be a reach, but maybe it's a glimpse into the HBO Max DC universe. I mean, I feel like we might have little patches of, because I remember one time when Barry was running on the CW show, he was running and he had little pockets of different situations happening. So I wonder if that might be the case, or if it's just him tapping into the Speed Force and it protects him. So either way, as a Flash fan, I'd be happy.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely get down with that, tremendously. So long as it doesn't stay too long in the CW side of things. But the second thing, the last bit of piece is about Cyborg. Just so much, because just so much about Cyborg. I don't even think we can just constantly jump it back and forth. It's just, it's best to tackle it straight up because it's just so much, and it's just how, you got the between the sequences of his father, trying to destroy the mother box and sacrificing himself, giving illusions and calls backs to not only Dr. Manhattan's birth in Watchmen, but also in, you know the same type of a similar type of death in T2, which that the Silas's actor was in T2 Terminator. So definitely that. And you see Steppenwolf in the background, and then we have the sequence where Ray, where Vic is going through the history of the world and moving the missiles, and Zach saying that he has, like there's no real limit to his power because he can't be stopped by a firewall or an encryption or anything. So just really just showcasing his how much further and further his evolution can go. And just so much about him, even the smaller detail about at the end of the trailer where they're standing heroically in the flying fox shows, him Cyborg is controlling it by himself through autopilot. So it's just so much stuff with Cyborg that I'm just very excited to see that we were absolutely robbed about in the Justice League. So what are you guys' overall thoughts and feelings about all of those dope sequences?
Yeah, I'm very excited for what we're gonna see, because this is obviously everything that was taken out. Um, like, we really are going to see the heart of the movie. And what I really like is just that being on this format, we like anything that was left on the cutting room floor, even before that, Zach may have been debating whether or not he should cut. Like, he can actually bring all this in, and we're going to be seeing all of these really great interactions. And like, Victor is just like, I have a very good idea that Victor is going to be my favorite. Like, he
Mm,
just, it's a lot of build up, and it will not disappoint.
yeah, I don't feel like we will be disappointed.
Same. So before we sign off, I just want to do a quick little rundown of all the other things that happened that were just quick, but nothing connected to really too much. You got Hippolyta in a wreck shop on Parademon while she's trying to get the mother box up out of there. Also, you see the Batmobile tearing into some more parademons. No parademons' lives do not matter. I can very well say that from all of these trailers. They do absolutely don't matter, and you can see it as such. You have the updated Steppenwolf entrance where it's in his original design. Zach did say that not only did is Superman and Batman going to have a pretty cool reunion, that also when Batman is blocking those blasts, he said that there's going to be a sequence in the movie where Alfred specifies, oh yeah, it's based off of Wonder Woman's gauntlet. So great minds think alike, and just so much other things. Zach touching on the potential, you know, begrudgingness of partnership between Aquaman and Cyborg, because Aquaman doesn't trust Cyborg based off of his mother box links. It's just a lot of stuff that just just amps up your excitement about this movie dropping 2021. Hopefully it's on January 2nd, 2021, my birthday. Just little saying that, Zach, if you can do that for the homie, that'd be great. And it's just so much great stuff I'm anticipating. So much I just need to happen, and I know will happen. So yeah, I'm expecting it tremendously. Any final thoughts, y'all?
So happy
Yeah.
because it's finally happening, and I think we deserve this movie. I just can't wait to experience it. I think that's what it is for me. I just cannot wait to see how it all plays out and how it all comes together. So
Yeah.
super excited still.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just really excited to see what we're going to be getting. It's going to be delivered to us what we were promised, 3 years ago. Like,
Hmm.
it's finally, it really is, coming together, and it just, I am just super excited to know, that there is still some decency, and some integrity, in the film industry, and what we're going to be, getting and seeing. It's just, really is going to deliver, something game changing, in the comic film department.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is for certain. But in any case, we have gone on for, I want to say, about what, an hour now,
Yeah.
something like that. And we have had so much fun breaking this down, just chatting it up. You will see more of this in the future, but more. Let me make this abundantly clear. But for this particular video, we are gonna wrap it on up. Big A, Big Mike, let these beautiful folks where they can find you at and what y'all have on the horizon.
Take it away, King.
Oh, well, well. You can find me on Twitter at Aaron Michael _J. Got a new Twitter account again. You can just find me there, talking about anything, everything, film, comics, whatever. I'm doing, some great things in the future with YouTube. Love this, multiverse, you can say, format that we've got going on. And I'm a host, a part of To Lovecraft and Back with the wonderful.
Me and Aaron do Lovecraft, To Lovecraft and Back. So that's been amazing. We've broken down just the first episode. The next episode will drop later this week. We're super excited about that. But you can find me at Twitter at _oddgeek. I talk about DC, Marvel. I just got caught up on Dragon Ball Dragon Ball Z Super. So, I've been fangirling about that, but it's gonna be some super exciting things coming. The multiverse is at stake for us. It really is.
Yep. And per the use, you already know who this is. You clicked on the video and you're subscribed. Hopefully, you liked, and you're gonna drop comments to let us know what you think about everything. Obviously, and like we said, this is a growing multiverse. Worlds isn't the world is, as James Bond used to say, the world isn't enough. So we gotta up it to the multiverse. But in any case, as always, per the use, thank you all for watching. This has been your boy Quamon Star G. That's Aaron down there, and that is Mike. That is Mike right there.
It's around there.
Somewhere around here. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you later. Everybody say peace.
Peace.
Peace on out, y'all. Thank you.